Hey, yo, what's going on? All right, so hustle culture versus internet begging versus non-creative YouTubers. All right, so we're gonna touch on that real quick. Now, the hustle culture. I'm not sure if you guys remember that back when. Um, I think it kind of dried up. I'm gonna say it kind of dried up a little bit, and I would say it lasted for quite a while, and it was about I would say 3 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago. So the hustle culture, man, it was nasty work, man, and I seen it in real time. I was a part of a era where you wanted to try to learn something, outside the box. Maybe a new skill via online or things like that. And and I was a part of that era, right? And the hustle culture, man, really was a thing where there were known um, online presence, where they would do something and claim that they have experience and claim that they were great at what they did when it came to a skill. And then what they would try to do was get you to spend money to join a specific specialized group that they had, right? And I started learning and catching on to, this very behavior, over the time period. And let me make a correction. This wasn't about 2 to 3 years ago. This was actually within the span of the last 5 to 10 years, right? And and what I noticed was that that's what they would do, right? A lot of you guys probably know groups like Forex. Forex was very heavy for hustle culture, right? Putting you in position where you got to pay a bunch of money and they stick you in somewhere to some type of little group or whatever, and you got to copy and paste everything that they do, right? Now that I never did. That I didn't do because I actually myself knew how to trade and stuff on my own. My self taught. Taught myself, and in that perspective, I didn't need that. But the whole nuance of that was that they were going to press upon you that they were great and that they never make mistakes, and they make 20,000, 30, $40,000 every day, and you see that. So you want to be like, all right, cool, man, shit, what is this Discord, what is this group that you have that you keep talking about? I want to join, and they just keep getting tons and tons and tons and tons of people in, and they're sitting there and they're biting and making money off of the people that are entering the group that they have. And catch these things here, catch these nuances here. Number one, some of them never even traded before. They actually joined and partnered with people that may have traded, but they never did. So the whole time they were pressing upon you that they were skilled. More than likely, they didn't even have any experience doing it. But because they were a presence online, they used that in order to get you to join with them, to join their group. And and that was something that I started to see, and I seen repetition from that. Even in the sports betting zone, right? And people that I never ever seen sports bet all of a sudden started sports betting, and then they started having people join their group, right? So you had to pay a bunch of money to join their group, right? So the hustle culture was nasty work, right? Because like I said, a lot of them portrayed like they were doing all of this and that, and then you turn around and you look at them now, they're not doing nothing. Like you don't even know where the hell they are, but they got you, and they got into your mind on a psychological level to have you join every little thing that they was doing, and some of them today are still doing it. And the money that they're making from that is what they're using in order to catapult their own success. And you got to be 100% honest with that. You know what I mean? So the hustle culture, like I said, started about, let's say, about 10 years ago online, and some of it still lasts today, but it's very small. It's in my opinion, it's kind of dried up because people have practically caught on to that shit. And if you haven't now, then maybe you want to kind of start understanding how simple minded that is. And then you have You have internet begging is what they call it now, right? Internet begging, where you have, select online presence that, you know uh, they use their they use their star power to, to kind of infiltrate the minds of the people that are watching their, their channels or their social media platforms. And they you know they may have an acting portion, or a reality show portion to, how they do things, when they're streaming. And a lot of people may, fall, for it, and not realize that, it could be just a way of acting, right? A lot of people, they do things on social media and these streaming platforms that are kind of outside of the character, and that's not really, what they're doing, when the camera is off. And people kind of fall into that, they feed to that. And I'm not going to name any names, because I'm just sorting out and explaining to you guys all the different nuances of these three categories, right? And a lot of them are starting to do that. And people are, I guess, so-called feeling like they're being scammed, and stuff like that. But it's like I said, it's a brain thing, man. Like, use your brain. All right, think a little bit higher, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up on TV, right before the phone really kind of blew up. I'm a millennial. So I watched a lot of sitcoms and reality shows. When it came to Fresh Prince, Family Matters, all of those type of shows, Martin, and you can always tell, based on the shows, and the different, things that you watch, that, like, oh, they're acting. This shit is funny. This is cool. I like that, right? And then right after that, right after the sitcoms, came reality shows, and you already knew, after watching actual sitcoms, that this shit was fake. It was just fake on a different degree, where you start falling, for the characters. And that's the same thing that's happening here on YouTube. The people that, what they call so-called internet big, that they have specific characters that they play. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that, because at the end of the day, there's Love and Hip Hop. There's Naked and Afraid. There's all these different reality shows that nobody complains about. But when other people um do things on their own, it becomes an issue, right? So just use your brain. Understand when people are acting. Understand when people do things outside of character. It's a connection. Like, you should be able to notice these things. It's not really that hard, right? So don't fall what they call the so-called internet begging. Keep your money in your pocket. All right. Stop giving your money out and then crying like a little baby, and and feeling like somebody's betrayed you, right? It's YouTube. Now let's move over to the non-creative YouTubers, right? So the non-creative YouTubers are the ones that they bottom feed off of every situation when it comes to someone else going viral, right? And that's just as sickening as watching internet beggars and watching the hustle culture, right? Yeah, you don't have to give them any money, but at the same time, it's annoying. Every time you go down your timeline structure, somebody's bottom feeding or copying each other, and oh, this person did this, oh, this person did this, that person did that, that person did this. It's like, dude, you guys are like some mini fucking TMZs. Your little media outlets. You guys are weird. And and what's funny is that this is actually a niche. Like, you can actually use your YouTube channel to mock, make fun, and bottom feed off of someone else's content. And more than likely, you're not going to have a consequential result, because they're not big enough anyway in order to even be in that position to be sued for defamation or anything like that. So they kind of just get to do whatever they want, right? And it's kind of nasty work. So I put that in the category with hustle culture, internet begging, because they also are doing things that they typically wouldn't be able to do to the Eurocentric platforms like NBC, Fox 11, all of these. You wouldn't be able to do that shit because they would sue the roof off the top of your house, just like that. But because the people that they're doing it to may not be able to be in a position to do that, to sue them for defamation, because they just may not have the knowledge or sense, or just may not have the funds or things like that to back that up. But non-creative YouTubers is a thing. You used to could be able to pop on YouTube and watch somebody, put a podcast on. They'd be able to do a short film, things that actually took, creativity. Now it's, let me find out who is doing this and doing that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bottom feed, and I'm gonna make mine so I can make my money for my views, right? And that's what it is. I'm being 100% with you guys. You guys see that all the time now. It's really becoming, it's bizarre, right? And like I said, it's actually annoying. You're just tearing down and tearing down non-creative YouTubers. That's a niche, okay? So I just wanted to drop that to you guys. Remember, look out for these three categories as you are on YouTube, right? Uh you have the hustle culture, you have the internet beggars, and then you have the non-creative YouTubers. Three categories. Plain and simple. But that's all I got for you guys new to the channel. Like and subscribe, where I bring nothing but the truth. And remember, the truth's in session. Peace.